What up, guys? I just wanted to take this video to kind of go over an overview of how I study languages. I've done these types of videos before, and I think that they're very helpful. Maybe they give you some ideas on things you can do to keep improving. I do see steady increases, even at kind of a more of an intermediate level where I'm interacting with a lot of authentic text. I continue to see lots of increases and do very well with, seeing noticeable improvements, going back and seeing things that I've read before and having the ability to understand and comprehend them very, very well. And so I kind of wanted to go through that and just show you guys some of the stuff that I do. So this is the Bible app. It's just literally called the Bible app. I can go out of this and kind of go over to it. I tried to arrange my apps here, but you can see it's the one in the very middle there, the Bible, just Holy Bible app. And when I go to that, I'll see I'm on chapter 4 right now. And well, I must have went over to the new chapter. So I'm going to go to the new chapter, and all I do is click on the verse, and I can click compare. And I have added these versions, so you can go up here to edit and put in whatever versions and whatever language you want. It doesn't have to be Greek. You can be in any language and make the top whatever that language is, and make the bottom your native language, whatever that is. So I know a lot of these words because I've been studying Greek for a couple years now, a little like 2.5 years, and mostly modern Greek. I've done some ancient Greek as well, and I'll go into that. But it says "Υπήρχε κάποιος ασθενής ονομαζόμενος Λάζαρος από την Βιθανία, από τον χωριό της Μαρίας και της αδελφής της Μάρθας." And you see the translation. I used a very literal translation. It's called the Young's literal translation, and the top part is in not in ancient Greek, and it's not really in modern Greek either. It's what's called Katharabousa, and it's kind of an older dialect of Greek, but pretty much modern Greek still. So it's like there is someone asthenis, a certain one I think called onomazomenos. So that's like a pronunciation thing I could practice if I wanted to prove that. Asthenis onomazomenos, Lazarus. And that's kind of how I would go through that. I would just go through it, make sure I was able to pronounce it, make sure I understood the meaning of the words, which I can either figure out from that. If I'm uncertain of how a certain word appears in this, I could go over to Google Translate or something like that and just pronounce the word, which that's another good pronunciation thing. And actually, I could do that. Asthenis, I think a certain one. I'm pretty sure that's it. I actually wouldn't look this up. But I can go over here and type in the word. I could actually hit the little microphone there and just pronounce it. Here's it, and it says, oh, so it's patient, actually. So I would have been wrong. A certain sick person, a certain patient, a certain sick one. So, okay, glad I looked that up, I guess. Υπάρχουν κάποιos asthenis onomazomenos. So there was a certain sick patient, a certain sick person named Lazarus from Bethany, from the village of Mary, Marias, and her sister Martha's. So I wouldn't take that much time. I would have just read it, and apparently I should have looked up that word asthenis. But I probably wouldn't have. I would have just gone on, and eventually I probably would have figured it out. But that's the other thing with this method is that you interact with a lot of words, and I would just read down and make sure I kind of had a vague understanding of the words, and keep going verse to verse to verse to verse. And it's a massive amount of immersion with making the text comprehensible. So I know a lot of people would shun the idea of having an English at all on the page, but I'm really only using the English when I'm stuck and the language is actually uncomprehensible. So one of the theories by Stephen Krashen that I think is really good is the idea that we learn languages when the language is comprehensible, when we understand messages, But, so I'm primarily reading Greek, and it's only when the message is incomprehensible that I am looking down at the English to figure it out and navigate it, and then I go directly back to looking at the Greek. So the majority of my reading is actually in Greek, and since I know these stories well, because I've been reading the Bible for many, many years, I kind of am able to go through and figure out the vocabulary. Even when I don't know it, I basically know what verses are coming because I've read these so many times. But there are a number of other apps that I use. So this is how I get reading in every day, which I think is a very important part of language learning. So, and obviously I use Google Translate. I use Memrise sometimes, which you can see here. This is a course of just individual words. So I have some reviews to go through today. It looks like I got 19 reviews. These go pretty quick, and this is a really good method, I think. Let's see. So I'm going to click on that and go through just a couple. This is a silly one. I don't know why this is. It's Irini. Hard is Sclero. I know that one. Fire, Pier. Opposite, Appenanti. I know most of these. Lapels. I don't know why. I had to look up what a lapel was in English, but peta. Like, I think it literally meant like lapels, like on a coat, like a suit coat, which I actually did know that. I guess I was surprised it came up in there. Tipota. Nothing. Beach. Paralia. So I won't go through this whole thing with you guys, but I think this app is kind of cool in that it helps you do individual vocabulary. I think that that's helpful. So you can see I have a couple of different methods. One is massive sentences and reading. The other, and actually speaking too with that one, because I'm reading those things into Google Translate. And then there's this one where I'm going individual words. I also have a biblical Greek course that I've made on here. So I made that one myself, and I've been uploading that and going through that one, and I can do something from that one. I'll just do one card, but so maybe you heard that. I can't actually hear when I'm recording on my phone and I have something that plays sound like that. It does not play the sound for me. So I understand maybe you heard it on the screen, but I actually am not able to hear that while I'm recording. So I've uploaded a number of different sections of the Gospel of John there. So that is actually in ancient Greek. That's not modern Greek or Katharovusa. And then you can see I do some Duolingo. Sometimes I'll do a lesson or two from there each day. Not a ton. I think it's beneficial, but yeah, it's not like the primary thing that I'm doing right now. When I first started out, it was really good, and I've taken months and probably up to a year actually off of using it at different times. But it was really helpful to learn the alphabet and get a basic base of vocabulary as I went down the tree. But eventually I kind of moved on to learning other things using other methods, and I still kind of come back to that every now and then, but it's not really my primary form of learning anymore. And then every day I do Anki. I do 5 new cards per day. So you can see I downloaded a couple decks that were pre-made, and this must be Glossica, which I don't know if I don't know how that got on there or how they took that. I did some research on Glossica, and it's actually its own language learning thing. So I don't know if somebody took the cards and uploaded them to Anki, or if that's even legal. I don't know how that works, but I've been going through this deck, and it's really good. Obviously I did all the cards for today. I'll only do 5 new cards for today. I can pull up a new one. My daughter and I have been learning Latin together, and we haven't done that one yet today. So that one's Lingua Latina per se alla strata, which we go through every day, and we do similar methods to what I'm showing you here. I have the book. I bought the book off Amazon, the Lingua Latina book, and we read one scene every day, which is like maybe the equivalent of a paragraph, and we look up the words and make sure we understand it. It is meant to be learned through the natural method, where you basically shouldn't need to look up words, but we often don't understand it if we don't look up the words. So we go through and make sure we look up the words, and we do this Anki deck, and there are uploads of it with both classical Latin pronunciation or reconstructed, the academic version of pronunciation in Latin, and then there is the church ecclesiastical pronunciation, and we have both, which actually I have at my YouTube channel. I could go over and kind of show you that. Where's YouTube at? So this is my other channel, and you can see I have a bunch of different playlists. This is the Lingua Latina per se illustrata from Scorpio Martianus, and I like his because it's a man and a woman, like they're going back and forth, so you hear different voices, and it helps distinguish the characters as you go through it. We just finished chapter 4, so we'll start learning chapter 5 in the upcoming week. And so we do both of these, though. We watch all of these videos as we go through before we actually start reading, and we will probably watch each one a couple times. And then there's this other one, LLPSI Family Romana, and this guy uses ecclesiastical pronunciation. So we get a number of different ones there. And so I'm going to... oh, excuse me. Oh, goodness. Oh. I had a bunch of false sneezes there, okay? So, but you can see he's uploaded each of the chapters as well. So we're getting reading, we read it to each other out loud, so we're getting vocalization, and then we also are doing the flashcards that I showed you on Anki. So each one of those are pretty helpful, I think. It's getting the language. So any way that you get these languages is going to be beneficial. It's going to help you to learn whatever language you're learning. But the more I think that you get them in different ways, that you're both reading and listening and maybe doing flashcards and then understanding things, like all of these things go and feed into themselves as ways to help you. Sometimes doing lots of different things can get tedious, but if you've been doing the languages for a while and you keep at the same things ongoing, then I think that's of great benefit. So some resources I find over time not to be that helpful, and I drop them off. I stop using them. And then sometimes I'll go back and think, oh, actually I did learn a lot from that, and I go back to it and start using it again. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Sometimes, you just get bored with using something, you don't want to do it for a while. If it's something like Anki, where those flashcards then stack up, well, then, that might kind of be difficult to do. But I try to keep the flashcard decks relatively small. If you're doing 5 cards per day in 1,000 card deck, then it's going to take about, I think, 6 months or so to do. So that would be 1,000 divided by 5. That would take 200 days then to get through that entire deck. If you divide that by 30, then that would be about 6.5 months. So I wasn't too far off, but so it takes about 6.5 months then to get through those. I already went through one. It was the first deck, and I deleted it after I had done it and been reviewing it for a while. So now I am on to the new deck, and so that's pretty helpful, and hopefully you found those things beneficial. Those are just some tools. I think of those that I shared with you, the most significant, the best one was the reading thing here, where I'm reading, often saying things out loud, practicing speaking. And unfortunately, there isn't an audio version of this. Some of the Bibles, most of the Bibles actually on here actually have an audio component, so you can go listen to them. This particular one does not, but I could change it, but I'm not going to right now. But that is a component on there as well. You can go back and listen to the audio version of it, and I find that a nice feature. But you guys, actually, come think about it, I will go ahead and just show you that. I clicked on that Bible up there. You can see some of these have little microphones beside them. I'm going to go down to the TGV, the Today's Greek version. I don't think that's as good of a translation as some of the other ones that are down here, but it is a translation. And the FPB is a Philos Pergamum version. And I can go up here and click play, and again, I can't hear that when I'm recording because the sound is kind of turned off. So You guys probably heard some of that speech, though. I'm going to go back to the one that I have been using. That's what I prefer right now. But hopefully that gives you guys a good perspective on different resources that you can use for language learning. Hope you are well. Take it easy, and I'll talk to you in a video coming soon.